hello. Hello, friends. I'm a little more of a human form now that I'm away from that other side. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy pre-Halloween, everyone. Do you like my character? She's kind of fun, right? Felt pretty appropriate to be this character for my topic this evening. Please leave a comment. Let me know you're there. Say hello. I love being able to see other people. It's so lovely to be here with you tonight for Let's Get Spiritual. Welcome, welcome to the realm. As the ghost version of me said, the other side, the afterlife. Haunted houses, ghosts, apparitions. That's right. Tonight there's going to be a little bit of storytelling. Yes, good spooky evening, Brooke. I see your apparition beyond. Yes, tonight there will be some haunted stories that I will share with you. Very personal ones that I have experienced firsthand as a normal person and then also as a psychic. So I'm very excited to share this topic tonight and be in the form of a ghost, an apparition, a spirit. So, welcome for any newbies. I am Fluidgirl. This is Let's Get Spiritual. We do a talk once a month and talk about specific spiritual topics. Boo, Els, I see you. Boo! And we talk about spiritual topics. And tonight, as I said, we are talking about the afterlife, the other side, ghosts, apparitions, haunted houses, all the things Halloween. Tonight, we're going to be speaking a little bit of Halloween tonight. Ooh, we have a new follower, Mystique. And the Legends 201, welcome to the realm of Let's Get Spiritual. Boo! I'm a ghost, if you didn't notice. Okay, let's get to it, shall we? As the human fluid girl, I did go online and look up the dictionary definition of the afterlife. So, what does the dictionary say the afterlife is? I'll put on my imaginary glasses. The afterlife, as a supernatural realm inhabited by spirits of deceased people. Now, they don't happen to also mention deceased animals, deceased objects. There's many different forms on the other side that are immaterial, but material at the same time. So it's more than just people. It's many, many, many things. And things that we don't even know. Now, Wikipedia's definition is this. The afterlife, also referred to as life after death or the world to come, is a purported existence in which the essential part of an individual's identity or their stream of consciousness continues to live after the death of their physical body. Now, this to me seems more true because first and foremost, we are consciousness. You get that? We are consciousness. Had to get a little ghostly there for you. We are only temporarily in a body. And if you believe in other lifetimes, like past lives, even future lives, we, have many physical bodies. But right now we'll speak in present time, 2021, for those of us that have physical bodies. Your physical body right now is temporary. And what lives on is your consciousness, your spirit, your soul, it moves on. And when you pass on, when you leave the physical, you go in to the other realm, into the other side, into the afterlife. And around this specific time for Halloween or Samhain, as they say in certain cultures, the veil right now has a tendency to be somewhat thin, meaning that the time going from now up until the 31st of October, there is a window of spirit that you can talk to your ancestors, that you can have more ghostly encounters, more spirit encounters. Your dreams can become even more vivid during this time. And there is an ET, I'll say that, but a spiritual teacher that I follow. Some of you may know him. His name is Bashar. And he talks about actually Halloween being a marker in time for us as humans. That was the fall of Atlantis, believe it or not. And I wanted to find a quote from his talk that he shared this actual idea, and I thought it was kind of appropriate during this time. I wanted to share this different aspect about Halloween as well, since we're in this time. So this is Bashar's quote about Halloween. He says, "From your ancient times, All Hallows Eve, or Halloween, represents the day before the destruction of Atlantis. November 1st is the day of destruction, and November 2nd is the day after. In some of your religious vernacular, these days translate into All Hallows Eve, All Souls Day, All Saints Day, Day of the Dead, and are the idea of destruction of your Atlantean landmass approximately 11 to 12,000 years ago." So just wanted to put that out there as a little caveat to Halloween, Samhain, this time, is that even though we celebrate in costume and have all these fun things that we do for Halloween, this is truly spirit time. This time is a very deep, emotional, connected human time for us that goes 11 to 12,000 years ago to the time of Atlantis. So if you'd like to know more about this or Bashar, he's amazing, just go to www.bashar.com, and I'll put that in the comments below. But I wanted to just leave that with you all to, pop your reality a little bit more if you haven't heard about this idea, that this is a very special time going into Samhain and Halloween, and how it really represents a very powerful time for us as humans, because the Atlantean destruction was mega for this planet, mega for our solar system during that time. So anyway, I won't go too deep into that, but it's just a really, really special time. So, hi, Ramona. Hi, Judah. Are you there? I hope you're enjoying the costume. Welcome, welcome. So first thing I want to just mention are I have had some very personal experiences with ghosts, with haunted houses, haunted places, even before I started studying psychic work. And I know that everyone has probably had some sort of ghostly encounter in some form of their life at some point, where they felt weird in a certain place, like a house that normally had a bunch of energy in it, or was actually considered haunted. Or you've seen something out of the corner of your eye, or you've had a really intense dream where you felt like you encountered a spirit, or, you may have had a connection to a grandmother or grandfather and they passed away and you felt them around you at some point in time. So we have all had these encounters in some form in our life, and the more that we can embrace them as gifts from spirit, even the ones that are intense or may seem negative, they're truly gifts from spirit, and they are there to serve us and to support us. And this is actually what I want to set as an intention for us tonight, is that all of the things that we have that we have experienced and that may experience in the future, maybe even on All Hallows Eve, that it's all for you. It's all for the gift of spirit. And that we're always empowered in the moment, no matter what. And this is another thing that I will be sharing with you tonight, different tools and practices that when and if you encounter a spirit or a ghost or things of that nature, is that you're always empowered and how they can sneak in if you're not empowered. Okay, so first and foremost, my personal experiences with ghosts. So my first actual visual experience of a ghost was when I was probably like 12 or 13. So in the neighborhood that I grew up in as a kid, we would sneak out, and we would sneak out, a bunch of us friends, and we had this neighborhood pool that was right next to a playground. But we would go in my friend's car, and we would sit in the car, we would talk, we would just chill and, like, do kid stuff, like just sit and hang out. And some of my friends were girlfriend and boyfriend with some of the guys, so they were hanging out, whatever. And I remember I was sitting in this guy's car, and we were sitting in front of the pool. It was probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I was sitting in the front, and I was kind of very tired, and I was sort of gazing off at the pool. And, the pool have lights. They have kind of pool lights at night. And I noticed my eyes were sort of gazing at this, like, line of mist that was slowly moving across the pool. And I was like, what, am I actually seeing this? And I couldn't actually believe what I was seeing. I thought I was just tired or something. But as soon as it noticed that I was watching it, it went faster. And then in one instant, I still get chills talking about this story. It went into like a cloud of smoke and went poof. And it almost like, when you play a tape and then you rewind it, the smoke goes whoosh. That's how it went. It just went whoosh, and then it disappeared into nothing. Oh my God, I just got chills. So of course I freaked out. I was a teenager, so I was like, oh my God, I just saw a ghost. And I don't think anybody else saw it but me. And so that was my first ghostly encounter. And I was very young. And it was a really profound experience for me because I had obviously never seen anything like that. And to just track a little further back, my mom, and if you've been on some of my other talks, you know that she was a psychic being. And my mother actually died a few times and came back when I was little. So she had 2 near-death experiences. And my mom was very psychic. She had psychic dreams. She was just a psychic being. And so me being a psychic is, of course, no mistake. It was in the blood, and it just was part of my growing up, her being in sort of the spirit realm, human realm, being connected in that area. And she would come back from these experiences talking about how she spoke with her grandfather or her father, and she met them at these gates, and they told her that she's not ready yet, that she has more work to do, and that she would come back. And this happened to her 2 times. And she told me that she remembers floating over her body when she died and seeing herself there. So, and she told me these things when I was a very young child. Like, she didn't wait until I was older. Like, she, of course, shared it with me again when I was older, but she shared it with me when I was very young. So I had exposure to these types of stories and energies at a very, very, very young age. And my mom would always talk about how she would go into houses and feel spirits around and, like, oh, don't go over there, there's some bad energy. And, she was just very connected in that way. So again, it was just around my world. And then I had, oh my gosh, I have so many to tell you guys. It's just such a fun topic. So another time when my dad was alive, he lived in a house in New Mexico. And we were all having dinner at a table together. And we were talking about something. And all of a sudden, the room got very cold. And I literally felt a spirit pass through me. Like, it went straight through my body. My father was sitting to my left. He looked directly at me. And he could tell, like, something happened. And it literally took everything out of me. It took all my energy. And this is what can happen if you have had a spirit pass through you before. And again, this was before I did any psychic work, had any training. Was open, but just had no training or tools around how to protect myself from that type of thing. So it literally passed straight through my body. And I went, whoop, like, I literally fell forward because it took all my energy out. And I was like, what the hell was that? My body was drained. I felt completely, like, tingly all over. And my dad actually felt it too. So the spirit that moved through the home, or me, or whatever, it actually went through his hand because his hand was next to me, and he actually felt it too. So these kinds of things can happen to some people. It definitely happened to me. That's the only time it's ever happened. And my dad had actually had a spirit in his house. His name was Edwin, and he was a man that lived there before him, and I think he had died in the house, so we kind of believe it was him. At that time, I didn't have any clairvoyancy around who I thought it could be, but we all assumed that it was him. So that's another one. Oh my goodness, so many. So I have another experience where I had training already at this time, and I was at a friend's house, and I had already talked to people on the other side, and we were talking about her daughter. Her daughter had an experience with her aunt who had passed away, and she was talking about things that were incomplete with her aunt, and how her aunt was really upset, and she died of cancer, and she was a very angry woman. And so the more we started talking about it, the more her energy started coming into the space, and we could feel the energy getting heightened and heightened and heightened. And all of a sudden we heard this like boom, like this loud crash that happened upstairs, and we were like, oh my God, what the hell was that? And so we all run upstairs, and we go into this one bedroom, and the chandelier had fallen from the ceiling and had broken. And I felt this aunt in the space, and she was very angry. And of course, we all kind of run off, and I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back there and confront that energy. So I go back and I confront her, and I tell her, like, look, I know you probably weren't happy about us talking about you, but you cannot do this because you scared the daughter. Like, she was completely petrified. And I said, you can't do this kind of thing. So if you want to come talk to us, in a way that we can communicate with you, but please don't do anything like that because it creates more chaos than needed, and you're scaring this little girl. And her energy, the ghost, her energy kind of lightened, and then I could feel her move out of the space, and then I did some energy healing for the daughter to help her clean and clear it. But apparently she was not she was not happy that we were talking about her. And there was obviously some things that were incomplete between her and this young daughter. So they ended up working it out, and I helped them do that. Which is another thing that ghosts or spirits or ancestors can do, is that they will come and they will communicate with you, or they will try to communicate with you. So they can get your attention with breaking things, with moving things around, with slamming doors, with flickering lights. They can get your attention in many ways, which we'll discuss later, but those are a few ways. And then tapping into more stories. First of all, let me just pause really quickly. If you're just joining, welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. This is Fluidgirl. This evening we are talking about haunted houses, ghosts, the other side, and the afterlife. So welcome. Pop into the comments, say hello if you're here. I'd love to know that you're here and acknowledge you. So, going back into my personal experiences, I have been to a few places overseas where there have been some dense energies. And if you've ever been anywhere like Europe with some of the castles and things like that, or places that hold very old stories of wars, fighting, ghosts, big time traumas in the area, that energy that can be held there. And so I was in Ireland once with a dear friend of mine, and we were in a castle in Ireland, and we were taking a tour, and we were going around the castle, and I could feel different things, but I was trying not to tune into it, because when you learn how to be psychic, you can literally tune in or you can not, or sometimes the energy is so intense that it just hits you, and you can't do anything about it. It's going to hit you, and you just accept it. But in this particular experience, we were going through this castle, and in one particular room, the host was talking about a story that happened there, and all of a sudden, I kind of felt like my throat had been cut, and I felt like my head wanted to roll off, and I kept going like this, and I'm like, I'm really uncomfortable in here. Like, I didn't want to be in there. And not too long after that, the host shared that someone had had their head chopped off in the room. So, and again, you literally don't have to be psychic a practicing psychic to be tuned into these types of energies, because certain places hold really strong stories. And, people that come in there and they're hosts and they talk about the story, they land it even more. They make it more real because the people are there, they're listening, they're anchoring it as well. So the story gets really anchored into the field of that area, the land of that area, the stones, like if it was a castle, the energy in the story gets locked in there. So that actual story will stay there even through all dimensions of time. It's really profound how this energy can happen. And like I said, if you are not a practicing psychic, you can still feel this energy and tune into it. And if you are psychic, you're going to tune into it a lot more. If it's a very heavy energy, it's just kind of the way that it is. So those are kind of interesting places to go. And if you ever want to tap in to, some of that stuff, go to somewhere that's known to be haunted. Go to somewhere that is known to have really strong stories, like those ancient castles in Europe, or places that have really strong energy signatures of things that have happened. If you're into that type of thing. If you're someone like me, I don't necessarily get drawn to those places because I kind of know, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I want to talk to that thing or, get connected with that. But, if you're into that kind of thing and you want to tune in and see if you feel anything, you can do something like that. So, another experience that I had regarding a haunted house, actually, and this will be the last story that I will share before I talk about other things, was I was living with a friend in San Francisco, and she lived in an apartment by the ocean, near Ocean Beach, but not really close. It was kind of a little bit up. But anyway, she had been known to be sort of, someone that was around a bunch of ghosts and things like that. She was very afraid, and, she had like these ghosts in her house. And so I ended up moving in with her, and I was renting a room from her. This was years, it was like 15, 12, 13 years ago. And I had just been studying my psychic work. I was probably like 2 or 3 years fresh out of school. And her mom had passed away. And one night I was sleeping, and I literally shot up straight out of a dead sleep, just whoosh, and I felt her mom call my name. She was like, this is my full name. She said, Christine. And I was like, shoot. I sat straight up, and I could see their apparition. And the minute that I kind of got who she was gone. And her mom came to visit me. So her mom showed up a few times for me there and would do the same thing. She would kind of wake me up and, call my name and kind of let me know that she was there. But my friend had also had a little girl that she told me was stuck there. And one night I didn't think too much about this, but I was in the bathroom and I hear this like scratching at the door. It's like, and my friend was sitting watching TV. She's like, oh my God, Chris, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That's the girl. And I was like, what? And it sounded like shh, 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 shh. And the girl came, and I actually had acknowledged her this time. I went into a meditation, and I saw the little girl. She was stuck. There was a man with her. They were both stuck together. Something traumatic had happened in the house. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was actually stuck there. And so what I did was I talked to her. I showed her the light. I showed her the other side. I showed her that she doesn't have to stay here anymore, that she can leave and that she can move on, her and this man. And they turned and they looked at the light, and then they dispersed and they went away. So my journey as a psychic is I have also supported beings that are in other homes that are stuck, because ghosts, entities, apparitions can get stuck on the other side if they don't know that they're passed on, if they don't know what happened, or if there's something traumatic or things are incomplete, they can get kind of lodged in between going to quote unquote the light. So in this case, that was something that had happened, and I helped them move on, and they never came back. And my friend said that little girl had come back over and over again to her, and it kept scaring her and kept scaring her. And so I finally acknowledged it, asked it what it needed, and helped it to move on. And then she never came back. She was at peace and in the light. So that's another thing that you can do if you feel inspired. If you're someone that's tapped in this way, you can literally help spirits move on by talking to them and supporting them and helping them go to the light. So if you do, or if you are interested in that type of thing and you're not trained, I highly recommend that you get some training before you do, or do a lot of research before you do, because the thing about the spirit realm, which is kind of a slippery slope, is they're so fine-tuned to your emotions and your fear, and that if you have a lot of fear going on, they're going to come in and there's different things that can happen. And what I've known so far in the spirit realm is that people who are in haunted houses, or they tend to have a lot of hauntings around them, or they get drawn to haunted places. And again, this is not in every case, but what I've noticed in certain cases that I've followed and that I've witnessed in my training and just in my experience, is that they are also haunted people, meaning that there's things in them that they haven't completed. They're filled with a lot of fear. Fear can actually attract a lot of other denser energies, like lower frequency energies. And again, there's no right or wrong in this. This is just kind of what can happen. And again, this is not every case. But if it's someone that you know, or you tend to be someone that has kind of noticed that there's like a haunting energy around you, you can literally ask yourself, what has been haunting me that I haven't acknowledged yet? Where am I haunted? And how far back does this go in my life? When did this quote unquote haunting begin? And if you can track that back, these are coaching questions. It can be very helpful to help you understand why this energy is coming up for you, why and how it is serving you, so you can move on. I'll tap in there for you there. Okay, so that ties up or closes rather, my personal experiences with ghosts. So, or apparitions, or the other side, or haunted houses. So, if there's anyone that wants to share like a little quick story, just a few sentences, you can pop it into the comments, because if we were actually all together, I would stop this for a minute and let some of you share, because some of us have all had some sort of encounter, like I said before. Okay, so tonight was basically a really, the intention was to support you with speaking to people who have passed on. If you feel incomplete with anyone, anything that needs to be completed, like especially, someone that you may have, that you loved, or, may have died suddenly, or something traumatic, or someone that you really cared for that you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. This talk was to be a place where you can get some support on how you can do that. Or if there's just someone that you want to talk to on the other side that you really loved and that you'd like to communicate with, whether it's an animal or a human, this is an opportunity for you to do that, because I'm going to teach you how to do that tonight. So, first thing that you can do is you can literally just put it out there. You can ask for help. You can just say, hey, so-and-so, hey, whatever the name is of this being, whether it's an animal or a person, and just say, hey, I'd really like to talk to you. Can you come in a form for me that I will really understand and know that it's you? You can ask them to, thank you, Els, you're welcome. You can ask them to be very specific, so you know it's them in particular. So let's say you were connected with your grandmother and she passed away, but she loved red roses. You could just say, hey, Grandma, I really want to connect with you, and how I'll know it's you, you will show me a red rose, or I will smell a red rose, or a red rose will come up. And then you start to then start seeing red roses, or a red rose just sort of pops up out of nowhere. That's how they will start to communicate with you. If you're very specific, the more specific, the better. That way you know it's really from them. And another thing I just want to mention about people who have passed on that are on the other side, they can also become your guide or your angel. Like my mother, she passed away about 4 years ago, and I truly feel that she is my guide now. Because there are times when I'm really in need or I'm going through trouble, and I feel her around. She comes to talk to me. I've been in meditation where I'm asking for a guide and she shows up. So just know that your passed on loved ones, even if they're not in the physical form, they're there with you. They're around you. They can feel you. They can see you. They can see beyond you. They can see your future. They can see what you're tapping into, what you're not tapping into. They can truly be your guide. And if you want clarity on that, you can ask them, are you my guide? Show me a way that you're my guide. Show me in this specific way how you are a guide, and let them show you, and be open to how it could show up if you're not being very specific. But also trust your intuition and your knowingness that when it does show up, you know that it's from them. So you can also, just notice synchronicities. Synchronicities are a beautiful way to connect when you ask for their support or their help. Some old school ways to connect with people on the other side or the afterlife or spirits is a Ouija board. Now, I remember as a child in the 80s, I had one of those, kid Ouija boards, and this is so crazy why they would make a toy Ouija board for kids. I was doing like little seances and stuff when I was a kid, and who knows what the heck I was calling in then. Man, I could have been calling in all kinds of crazy stuff. I never actually had any, really profound, scary experiences with a Ouija board, but this tool, if you find value in that, you could use that as a way to connect with your guides, your angels, your ancestors, your loved ones. That's a way that you can do it. Seance is a way. Go actually see a medium, okay? You can go and get an experience like that. Another way that you can connect with your ancestors, your guides, your angels, your passed on loved ones is through your dreams. I personally have had many dreams about people that have passed on. And one particular dream, I think I shared this in a few talks ago, but I'll share it again. Welcome, Sova. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, hooty hoo. So one of the ways that an ancestor, or actually a very old friend of my father, showed up in my dream last year during the pandemic. And I remember this dream sort of clearly, but I remember him in particular. So I was dreaming, and I was sort of in this room, and there was a lot of like chaos. It was very dark, and all of a sudden I see him, and I haven't seen this man since I was a child, and he died, probably a good 20 years ago. And he showed up, and he just said very plainly, "It's going to be very different now when you're traveling." And he was referring to like the vaccines and, the vaccine passports and things like that. And I was already kind of tuned into that happening last year. And he just popped in and he was like, "Yeah, things are going to be very different with travel, so get prepared for that." And then I came out of the dream and I was like, whoa, that was definitely a visitation. That was a messenger. So they can come on the other side. And I've had, animals that have died come to me on the other side and are in my dreams, and sometimes they will even show up as different things. So, yeah, there's a multitude of ways that your guides and support and your passed on loved ones can show up for you in your dreams. And again, you can be very specific. Oh, someone said, "Thank you, Patrick, for all the hearts. Love you, miss you, Mama, Papa." I love that. Cool, nice, yay. I love that, I love that. So, yeah, dreams are a really beautiful way to connect with people who have passed away and the afterlife, because there is this theory that this realm, 3D, is the dream. This is actually not real. And that the dream space is actually the real place. So if you haven't heard that theory before, sit with that for a minute. Am I dreaming? Maybe you are. So I will leave you with that on some level too. But yes, anyway, dreams are very important. They're a very powerful place for you to connect. And if you want your ancestors or any passed on loved ones to connect with you, ask them to show up in your dreams, because that's a really clear way that they can. And ask them to show up very clearly. Like, "I need you to really show up for me. I need to know it's you specifically. Tell me this, da 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 da." And be open to how it shows up for you. And so Brooke said something. Okay, Brooke, I had a psychic medium friends that did the same thing as you. Helped spirits go into the light. Saw some intriguing things with them. I always meditated before helping them. And one meditation, I saw a vision of a very unique round mirror with thick ornate wooden frame. Later that night, the second house we visited had an exact mirror. Oh, that's so cool, Brooke. So Brooke has done some really cool haunted house, sort of house clearing type things. And so my friend Ani Rael and Coco, I believe they do house clearing. So Ani, if you're watching, please pop in the comments and put your contact if you're someone that, needs some support in that realm. And Brooke, I don't know if you're doing that these days, but if you wanted to mention that you'd be open to supporting people with that too, totally up to you, but I just wanted to plug that. And I can also do that stuff too for you. I can read it psychically and support you and give you information around different spirits or beings that might be in your space as well, or to help you create some clarity or closure around that too. So there's a multitude of ways that we can support you with that. All of the people I mentioned and myself, and you can do it too. Okay, so another way that you can connect with your ancestors or the other side, or your, the spirit realm, your guides, is actually to create an altar in your home. You can put up photos, you can put up actual items that belong to them. That's very powerful because it literally still has their energy in them. Put that on your altar, create some incense, or as I called it, spirit sauce. Add some incense burning in its spirit sauce. You can burn some incense, whatever you feel would be a tool for you to connect with them. So photos are wonderful. Now, when I do readings, sometimes, I haven't done this so much these days, but when I was reading people on the other side, I would literally just need a photograph. Look at their photograph and boom, I connect them, and bam, bam, bam. All the psychic information comes through, telepathic communication, pictures, imagery will come through. And you could practice that too. You could literally just look at the photo of this person and ask them, and kind of close your eyes and, calm your mind down as much as you can. Go into a meditation, maybe about 15 minutes, just do some slow breathing, then pull up the photo. You can send telepathic messages or telepathic questions to this person, this entity, your animal, and wait to see if you get an answer. And you can write them down, you can record them, whatever you feel as a way that you can record the energy for yourself. So, because sometimes the messages come through. And when you're playing with this, if you decide to do something like this, I just invite you to just let come out whatever come out. So try not to analyze it, try not to overthink it, and don't question yourself. Just write down whatever comes. Okay? And it's usually the first thing that usually comes before you analyze it. Did that really happen? Just write it down. And sometimes stuff that comes through is pretty profound. So it's a really cool tool on how you can connect with your ancestors. So an altar and then a photo. And of course, any items as well. You can also go to a grave or a graveyard, right? This is the perfect way to connect with spirits, with the other side, with your ancestors. Now, when I kind of particularly stay away from graveyards, because for me personally, it's just overwhelming and there's a lot of energy there. Sometimes people have had really hard deaths or they're still stuck, and I'm not ready to support hundreds of people or 50 people or 10 people, one person even, to move on to the other side. So I personally kind of steer clear of graveyards, but each time I have been to one, it's also a very beautiful experience. It's very peaceful. There's a lot of peace there, and sometimes you'll encounter spirits there that are like guardians that look after the dead, that help the dead move on. I mean, graveyards are really special places. They're so beautiful, first and foremost. Some of the very ancient ones that have some of the very ancient gravestones and very big, elaborate ones. But yes, if you want to talk to spirit a little bit more, go to a graveyard. Another thing that you can do is, if you want to connect with someone, is write them a letter. And even if you want to have completion with someone, this is a wonderful way to create completion. So if you don't decide to do it in a dream, or you don't decide to do it through an altar or things like that, a really practical way that you can do it is through writing them a letter. You can write out, "Dear so-and-so, this, all the things that you never got a chance to say, you never got a chance to share, whatever comes up for you, anything, again, like I said, that feels incomplete, write it in a letter." You can literally go bury it in the ground when you're done. You can rip it up. You can burn it with fire. You can literally rip it up and flush it down the toilet. Because even though they are passed away, they are still connected to you in some form, in spirit form, as we are all connected with each other, and especially our ancestors and our bloodlines and our lineage and our ancestry. You can create tremendous healing by you being you in a physical body and helping them on the other side without even actually having the intention of doing so. By your healing, it cultivates a ripple to them because you are connected to them. And then writing this letter will heal you first and foremost, and it will heal them. So cool. And sometimes I've had a few past clients say that when they did this with people on the other side, the other person, like the person who passed away, started coming in more. Because sometimes when you're trying to connect with someone who's passed away and you have not done a lot of healing there's, in some cases, not all, but you can have, you can be a little closed off because you haven't completed, your heart is not opened. So if you want to communicate with them, they're not coming through very clearly. So the more healing you do on yourself, the more open that you allow yourself to be to receive more support from them, more connection to them, and you can feel them come through more. So as I said, there have been clients that I've recommended this tool, the writing a letter tool, to people who've passed away and passed on, and they've done it, and then they get more communication with them when they really wanted to, and they feel like, I'm blocked, I feel like I can't communicate with them, they're not talking to me. And the more healing they did on themselves, then they were able to connect with their ancestors. So, last thing is that you can get a reading, whether it's with me or someone else. I'm happy to support any of you who'd like to do a reading. Again, I have talked to many people on the other side, and they tend to come in quite a bit these days when I'm doing readings. The people on the other side got a lot to say, and I'm so honored, and it's just such a blessing to be able to talk to people that have, moved on. They're out of the physical. They can see and know so much more, and it's just an incredible journey to be able to talk to them. So if you'd like to talk to someone, reach out to me, grovecirclehealing@gmail.com, and we can talk about how we can support you in that realm. Or if you want to get a reading on how you can help yourself get closer to you becoming more psychic and more tuned in, communicate with me. We can set up a reading for you, make it happen. I love teaching tools. Obviously, I'm doing it now. I've been doing it for a few months now, that Let's Get Spiritual Talks. Once a month on my channel, so follow me, please. Fluidgirl, twitch.tv/Fluidgirl. And yeah, I love teaching tools. So if you want to learn more about this realm, yeah, communicate with me. We can make something happen for you. So if you're just joining, welcome. I am Fluidgirl, the ghost. Let me go into another dimension. Welcome. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. And back into the third dimension I come. So, thank you for being here. I do a talk, Let's Get Spiritual, once a month. I also am a DJ. I play a lot of really amazing house music, and I'm getting into breakbeats and things. I have a set called Fluidity, so join me every other Thursday. I won't be playing next week. I am going to be going out of town, so I won't be here to play for you all, but I will pick up again soon. But I'm so happy to be here supporting you with Let's Get Spiritual. So, going back into the talk, one of the ways that our ancestors, spirits, guides can support you and contact you is through music. That's how, they're so able to, send vibes from the other side into the physical realm through music and many other ways, which I'll tap into in just a minute. But when my father passed away a few years back, I was still remorsing over him. And he used to love Phil Collins. That was my connection to him. He used to love Phil Collins in certain songs. And there was a few things that I felt kind of were a little bit incomplete, I think, on his end when he passed away. And I remember it was in, believe it or not, Home Depot of all places. And I was walking around, and I think I had thought about my dad that day, or he had been kind of in my consciousness. And all of a sudden, I heard a Phil Collins song, and it was synchronistically aligned with exactly what I was thinking about him. And it was like this music and the lyrics that came through were right spot on with what I needed to hear from him. And all of a sudden, of course, I start bawling in the middle of Home Depot, because it's this beautiful message from my father that comes in, kind of synchronistic and funny about Home Depot, because my dad loved to build houses. He was very sort of like building, and cars and stuff like that. So, of course, him being in Home Depot and playing me Phil Collins, of course, was his energy. So it was perfect. And another way that I noticed my dad in particular is, so he had a 1971 Chevy Malibu that he bought from 1971. That car was his first baby. He had it his whole life. His whole life, from 1971 all the way until him dying a few years back. And actually, the car died with my dad, because my dad had a brain tumor, and his car was wrecked, and the car died, and he died 2 weeks after that, and his car was completely wrecked. So they died together. It's so beautiful. But anytime I see a Chevy Malibu, I'm like, oh, hi, Papa. How you doing? So they can communicate with little ways like that of how they know how to get your attention. So music, lights flickering. You can actually come into a room and you're like thinking about so-and-so, or, oh, I want to talk to so-and-so, and all of a sudden the lights start flickering on and off. They start going to, and I've seen in some cases, certain people, they will literally have like a musical journey with lights flickering off, on and off, on and off. And it's how they get our attention. It's an attention grabber. They know how to do that. You can actually feel them around. You can feel their energy. You can get a sense of like, ooh, someone is around. I do not feel like I'm alone. You can literally feel sometimes a spirit touch you. You can feel them, as I said in a past story, someone actually pass through you. That's one way that they can get your attention. Again, I'm going to talk about this again. They can show up in your dreams. Perfect one. Sudden temperature changes. That's definitely when you know a spirit is around. You can feel like, okay, all of a sudden it's hot, and then boom, it just instantly gets cold. Or you start to feel like the energy is getting dense. That's definitely when spirit is around. When animals start to act very off or weird. Cats in particular are really such cool beings when it comes to being tapped in to spirits. Now, all animals, I believe, can see spirits, but cats in particular, they're very cool. They can watch energy. You can notice a cat sort of like looking at something. They're kind of, moving their heads. If you have cats, you understand. They can see spirits. If a cat starts going nuts when you're in a room, or they start going crazy, they can see energy. So pay attention to your animals. They're very tuned in. Touch on something real quickly around animals. they can actually pick up before an earthquake is about to come. I remember once when this was, I don't know how many years ago, I had two cats, and they all of a sudden started going crazy in the house for no reason. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And they like darted off in one room, and I was like, okay. And then literally a minute later, I felt an earthquake. I was like, whoa, okay. Now I'm going to start to really pay attention to my cats. Like if there's some crazy energy and then boom, there's an earthquake. So animals are really special when it comes to seeing energy and picking up on things like earthquakes and stuff like that. There are spirit messengers, so make sure to pay attention to them. They are allies in that form. And another way that they can contact you is through familiar scents showing up. So, for instance, if you had a grandfather or maybe an uncle or someone that you loved, they smoked cigars. Maybe you're thinking about that person, maybe they just passed away, and all of a sudden you start smelling the scent of a cigar, and you're like, oh, okay, that's so-and-so, and it feels familiar. Or, you're somewhere that you've never been before, and you start to smell different smells. You're like, oh, God, that doesn't smell good, or it smells like a perfume. That's when you know you're tapping into spirit and how they can get your attention. So, spirits, and more spirits, the afterlife. Oh, this has been a juicy talk so far. How are you all doing? Put some comments in there. I can see people watching, but no one's really talking. I understand that this is kind of storytelling time. Of course, I'm in my ghostly costume. So let me know what you guys think. How are you all doing out there? Just so you know, I am on a 20-second delay with my streaming software. So if I don't respond to you right away, it's because I'm just seeing your message 20 seconds later. But in the meantime, for those of you that are just joining, this is Fluidgirl. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. Happy early Halloween! We're talking about the other side, ghosts, apparitions, haunted houses. Yeah, it's just a really juicy time to talk about this type of things. It's so close to Halloween, one of my favorite times of year. I love fall. I love the changing of the seasons. It's funny, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but literally when fall starts to kick in, I literally notice a big shift. Like the air and the lighting gets different. Oh, I'm so glad, Ramona. Yay, Judah. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, it's just you notice the lighting is different. And if any of you are my friends are connected to me on Instagram, you can follow me, Fluidgirl, all one word, on Instagram. I've been posting these clips of me in this particular mask costume that I'm going to be creating a performance piece around. She's a very ghostly spirit form. She's mysterious and beautiful and scary all at the same time. And she is beautiful in this lighting right now because the fall lighting coming in, it seems like no matter what time of day, it's like crisp and clear and magical. This time is so magical. So take just a moment in your day tomorrow and even the nighttime. Just notice what you notice in the seasonal shifts, like what feels different, what feels, like what you can sense with your own psychic senses, like the lighting, what you see, what you pick up on, the air, what you breathe. It's just such a magical time. And how is it magical for you? So some of the comments. Yay, Rebecca, I'm so happy. I'm so glad that you like it and it's really helpful. Blessings to you, blessings to you. And then Brooke, do spirits ever give you messages about our world going through any spiritual transformation as an entire planet? At the moment, no. But I will say, yay, Kim, welcome. I will say, Brooke, if you want to find out yourself about anything like that, and any of you that are listening to this comment and are curious about the same thing, just put it out there. Put it out there to one of your ancestors, your spirit guides, whoever. Just say, hey, I'd like to know more about, what's going on in the world and how I can be of a benefit, how it can be of a benefit to me, what kind of messages I need to know in my personal life, and maybe collectively, what, I need to have some information on, what have you. You can ask that yourself and get information. And Brooke, please let me know if you hear anything, girlfriend. Let us know, post it, and maybe another talk later. But yeah, we all have this capability to tap in, and you can ask your ancestors or your allies to. And it doesn't even literally have to be in your dream space. It can be during the day. Just pay attention to what articles come to you, like what messages come to you, like who talks to you, like what you are. Say you're sitting in a coffee shop and you start to overhear this conversation. You kind of go, oh, your energy gets drawn over there, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to listen to this message, because spirit can talk to you in all kinds of ways. So if you put it out there that you want to know, pay attention to how it shows up for you. But if you want to be more specific and talk to an actual ancestor, ask the ancestor, or you can even ask Supreme Being, God, Goddess, your higher self, whatever it is that you want to connect with that makes you feel more connected to spirit in that realm. That's how you can do that. And you can even write it down on a piece of paper and put it under your pillow at night, another little thing that you can do. So, and then there was another comment. We're so happy to spend our evening with you. 23 years since we lost Patrick. We love you, Uncle Mark and Aunt Carol. Oh, yay! I'm so glad. And may Patrick just be in a beautiful space on the other side. I'm sure he's doing just fine. Absolutely. As they're always fine on the other side. They're fine. And for those that are not, there's a way out. And if you ever want to find out like a really beautiful way of kind of understanding, and this is like a movie, I'm going to suggest a movie. It's a movie that I saw years ago, and it's like the closest thing that I could get to understand like what's going on the other side. It resonated so much as truth when I saw it, is the movie called What Dreams May Come. And it has, oh my God, his name was just in my consciousness. He's a comedian that passed away. Oh my God, he's a famous comedian and he passed away. Anyway, What Dreams May Come. Incredible movie, beautiful. It is a beautiful movie about this man who passes away and what happens to him when he goes on the other side, when he meets his allies, his spirit guides, and then when his wife tries to die and she gets stuck. It's so beautiful and such the clearest rendition of what I believe is truth is what happens when people pass away and what can happen. Such a beautiful, like literally visually beautiful movie. Oh, Alice says she just watched Ghost last night with Patrick Swayze. Oh, Alice, that's such a good movie. Thank you, Brooke. Robin Williams. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. So, oh, it's so good. Yes, Alice, Robin Williams. Patrick Swayze, yes. That movie is such a good one, too. It really resonated as truth. It's so beautiful. And, you know, beings, when they kind of get stuck on the other side, they can go into stories like that. They can help people on the other side. They become their guides. And when he's complete, then she completes, and then she sees him. Oh, it's just I get chills again. Such a beautiful movie. So these movies are, you know, very true to the stuff that can happen. Oh, cool. Brooke says that she knows the producer of that film. He's very spiritual, too. Which film is it? Is it What Dreams May Come, Brooke, or is it the Ghost one? We'd love to know which one. Okay, and if anyone else knows any really beautiful, cool movies connected to spirit form that or the other side or, you know, things that we're talking about tonight, please list them in the comments because people can watch them. They can take the information that they learned from this talk and integrate it into a movie. And we're all visual people. So, you know, watching a movie will help us integrate it, help us understand it. And if there's any more... Oh, yes, on Netflix right now. Yeah, Els, get in on the Netflix. I'm sure they got a bunch of yummy stuff on there right now. And I'm going to watch Ghost again and actually What Dreams May Come. Such great movies. And those are older ones, but they're so good. Okay, so let's go into our meditation, shall we? Because it's 8:30. I usually stop around 8:30, so let's go for another 15 minutes or so. We're going to do a meditation together. So in this particular meditation... Ooh, Brooke. Okay, so he did, this producer, she knows, What Dreams May Come. He also did Somewhere in Time. I don't know that one. Mental noting, Somewhere in Time. Thank you, Brooke. So we're going to do a meditation tonight, and we are going to do a guided meditation where we are going to meet an ancestor or ally or guide or spirit that you want to speak to. Or it can be, you know, one of your animals that may have passed away. So just... take a moment and think about who you want to talk to. Or if you're open, just say, I am open to whoever wants to come to me in this guided meditation right now. Okay. So now that we're in this space together, I'm going to turn up the music a little bit. So put your pens down, your papers down, or whatever you're, you know, if you're holding anything, and we're going to go into a meditation space together. So you can just take a few deep breaths, maybe turn down the lights a little bit. Or you can just close your eyes and disconnect from the light. just, again, take a few deep breaths, breathing in and out of the body. Feeling the ground beneath your feet, beneath your body if you're lying down or sitting. And just allow yourself to fall into this moment and to allow all of the information that you've been receiving through the stories and the tools to integrate into your body, into your auric field, your energy field, and to allow yourself to take in whatever it is that you needed from this talk tonight, and that you're just going to receive it right now, and it's going to coagulate into your energy field right now through the breath. And just keep taking a few nice, slow, deep breaths. I'm going to step away just for one moment, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. I floated away and floated back. And then as you settle in more and more, just allow your attention and intention to go into the center of your head. The area of your visions, where you visualize your psychic space, your dream space. And then just take a deep breath into the center of your head, the sixth center, the third eye. And then with your imagination, let's create a little visual. Just imagine this big, beautiful room. Step into this room, and this room is a place where you feel safe, comforted. And you notice two chairs in the room, and they're so beautiful and inviting, these chairs, and you want to sit down in one of them. And do these chairs look familiar? Or are they entirely new? What do they look like? And what does it feel like when you sit in this chair? And just notice what you notice about this room. Is it big? Is it small? Is it well lit? Does it have windows? Does it have a door? Does this room look familiar? Is it brand new? And just make any mental notes that you're making and witnessing. And again, just take a deep breath while you're here in this room, and remembering your intention that's in your heart with who or what you want to speak to that wants to come to you in this room. And then you notice that this light starts coming into the room. It gets brighter and brighter and warmer and warmer. And now you start to see a silhouette of this person or this being that wants to come to you. And as they come more and more into the light, you see who it is. And take a deep breath. then just invite this being to come sit in the chair. And how does this person or animal or being look to you? Do they look happy? Do they look tired? Do they look energized? Do they look angry? And just notice anything that you see and just be a witness to it and try not to judge it. Just be an observer. And as you're observing and witnessing, what is this being saying to you, especially related to your intention? And if you're not hearing a voice, are you getting any impressions? What are you picking up on? And you can ask them, how do they want to start communicating with you more? Or how do they already communicate with you? And just take a deep breath and receive the information. Acknowledge the information. And now you can allow them to receive something from you that you'd like to ask or request. And so I will give you a moment to have a conversation around that idea. And again, remember to breathe. And now you can imagine that as your conversation starts to close, that they're handing you a gift. And you can look down at this gift. And what are you seeing? Does this thing or object look familiar? And are you open to receiving it? And if you are, you can receive it in your hand and place it in your heart. Or if you don't want to receive it, you can just say no thank you. It's completely up to you and whatever the communication is that you're getting between you and this other person or being. But if you did decide to receive this gift, you can say thank you and you can place it in your heart. And if you said no, you can still say thank you. And you can say thank you to this person or this being for this conversation, or for them being willing to come in to this meditation to support you with whatever it is that you both needed in this experience. And as now it's time to depart, you can tell them, see you later, or I hope to see you in my dreams, or whatever it is that you two conversed around how you're going to support or see each other moving forward, or how they're going to support you. And then you notice that their energy is starting to disperse, the light is starting to dim, and they're starting to leave. They get up from their chair, and then they disappear, or you watch them walk away, right back to where they came from, back into the light, or just out of the room. And now just sit for a moment and receive the information that you just got a download about. And just take a moment and take a few deep breaths to receive that. Remembering the imagery, remembering messages, remembering any guidance around how you two can connect more or not, or anything that came through. Now you can slowly start to come back into the room, coming back to your body, feeling your body, coming out of the imagery and into your physical room or wherever it was or are that you are. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Slowly come back to the physical realm. Yay! Welcome back! Good job, you all. I hope that you had some beautiful messages that came through. I'm sure you all did. And just make some mental notes about who or what came through, even if it wasn't not the person that you had asked, or maybe you didn't get anything. Know that if you didn't get anything, they may come to you in another form. They could come into your dreams tonight. They could show up in another form. So if it didn't show up in this meditation, know that they can come in another form, and just pay attention to any synchronicities, or just be open to, what came through or what will be coming through moving forward. And if you did get some information, you saw something, it might start coming more now because now you've opened yourself up to it. So, this is the magical time. You just opened yourself up. So congratulations to you all. If you're watching this live, thank you so much for your time and the time that you spent with me tonight. And if you're watching this pre-recorded, thank you so much for your time and for being with me. And I hope that you really enjoyed this spooky, let's get spiritual, and that you all learned some stuff tonight. And if you need any support, if you want a reading, or you want to get connected with some of the people that are on here, some powerful people, please reach out to me, grovecirclehealing@gmail.com. I'm happy to be of a support to you in the spirit realm. And if you like music, you like dancing, come into my fluidity sets, my DJ sets. So just hit that, smash that follow for Twitch, and you can find me there, and you'll get notified. Okay, but before I leave, little Mystique. Hi, Mystique. Now, Mystique was with me when I had that castle experience where I felt the person cutting my head off. We were in that castle together in Ireland, Blarney Castle. We had some great memories over there. So Mystique said, enjoying this so much. Love you, Chris. I'm still healing from the loss of Max. Yes, Michelle, or Mystique, lost her dog, Max. It was a very dear soul to her and me. And he's such a sweet little beautiful dog. He was so precious. She said he'll be 1 year on December 5th of his passing. So this is great for me to be tuning in. Oh, Michelle, I hope he came through for you. That's so beautiful. Thank you for being here, sweetheart. And I hope your heart is healing. I love you and I miss you. And then Kim, thank you, Fluid Girl. So grateful for your guidance and your light. Oh, thank you, Kim. So amazing. Such a sweet soul. Thank you, Brooke. And thank you, Els. Oh, you saw your grandma, your grandpa? Oh, your grandpa. That's so beautiful. I'm so glad. I just love doing these meditations because, this is what I used to do with people a lot. I would take people on guided imagery a lot when I did energy healing, when body work, years and years and years ago. And I loved doing these because I love being on the receiving end of it, like listening to what people were saying when they would go through these guided meditations, because I would take people into journeys in their body. We would create rooms. And if they had incompletions with people or traumas or issues or dis-ease, we would go into these rooms and, in the body, and people would come through, guides would come through, different things would come through, and people would have the most amazing experiences, and just to hear what they were seeing, because I would have them give me feedback around what they were seeing, so it really helped them anchor in the experience. It would literally be like me watching a TV with them, because I'd be holding the energy and just guiding them, and then hearing their feedback, and then coaching them on how to talk to the person or work through it. And the stuff that came through was just so freaking incredible sometimes. I'm like, this could be in a movie. This is so amazing. And so moving and touching. So if you got an experience like that, hats off and kudos to you. I'm so glad. And thank you all for being here. Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. So oh, Ramona said, I saw my old dog, Audrey. Oh, how cool. Yay, Ramona, that's so amazing. Audrey had something to say. I can't wait to hear what that was about at next appointment. So if you guys want me to talk about anything in particular, another spiritual topic, post it in the comments. So I know what I could share with you, because people have recommended different topics and I talk about it, and you get some education, you get some tools. So I'm happy to share. This is what I love to do. I love to share and empower, or share with people tools and how to help them be more empowered in their life. Oh, and I forgot to say one thing about haunted houses if you're still on. One thing I want to tap into really quickly, I just remembered this and I didn't get a chance to talk about it. So with haunted houses and haunted places or spirits that are scary, I find that they prey on fear. So if you're someone that is afraid of that type of thing, if you can really work with your fear and really empower yourself to stand up against this thing or to face it, that's how you can disempower it. Okay? Because like I said when I shared that one story about we were speaking with my friend's aunt who had passed away, and she was very angry and she broke the chandelier in the room. I first got scared, like, but then I walked back and was like, wait a minute, let's reclaim this. And I went back and I confronted her and I said, no, like you can't do that. You have to really show them who you are and stand in your power. And it takes a lot of gusto and confidence to believe that you can do something like that, but you can. You just have to really believe in yourself and build up the strength, inner strength, to know that first of all, you have a body. They do not. Okay? So on some level, you have more power in that form. So always know that. And you are always in empowerment in your own physical body. Okay? So that's one thing I wanted to just mention about haunted houses and things like that, and encountering ghosts, is to be really strong in your person, like really, really strong in yourself. And if you do encounter spirits or ghosts or things like that, or you have a tendency to do that, or you go into haunted places, I recommend taking a tool with you that makes you feel more empowered. One crystal that I absolutely love is black tourmaline. And black tourmaline is wonderful, dispersing negative energies for protection. That's a wonderful tool. So, or you want to bring sage, or you want to bring a drum, or you want to bring any spirit tools with you. Bring it. That's your allies. Bring them with you. So you can bring that, or you can actually bring a friend, or someone with you that makes you feel stronger. So one of the things I just wanted to touch on when it comes to ghosts and haunted houses and things like that is to really claim your power, and you have a body, they do not, and that you're there to help them, and even them scaring you is actually them helping you. Okay, everyone, thank you all for being here. Now I'm going to go back into my spirit form as Fluidgirl, the ghostess, with the ghostess. Welcome to the spiritual. If you want to connect with me about